A man writhes in pain. A doctor, with an inscrutable expression, hands him a pill. A brand new experimental painkiller, he says. The patient swallows it hopefully. A second passes, then another, and then the paradox. It was just an ordinary sugar pill, but the pain vanished. It didn't subside. It completely evaporated. How is this possible? The answer will change your understanding of reality. The patient's brain believed the story about the medicine. This belief was so powerful that the brain itself commanded the release of endorphins, our body's natural painkillers. His model of reality changed, and with it, his physiology changed too. He didn't imagine the relief. He genuinely felt it. fMRI scans confirm that when a placebo is taken, the same opioid receptors are activated in the brain as with a morphine injection. The brain literally opens its internal pharmacy and prescribes itself real medicine. If a simple story told by a doctor can switch off real physical pain, consider what stories you tell yourself every day. Some make you weaker. Others make you stronger. This means you can learn to consciously choose these stories, to program your brain just like that doctor did. These stories aren't just thoughts. They are program code that runs on your brain's hardware. Each such story is a script that determines your reactions and even your biochemistry. Today we won't be talking about magic. We'll explore 3 specific tools used by everyone, from intelligence agencies to marketers, to influence your perception. And at the end, I'll give you a protocol on how to use these same tools to hack your own reality. This isn't esotericism. This is cognitive science in its purest form, tools honed in neuromarketing labs and psychological training grounds. And the first step to hacking is to understand what exactly we're hacking. The truth is, you aren't seeing the real world right now. No one does. Imagine a city map. It shows roads, buildings, parks, but it doesn't show the smell of coffee from a cafe, the noise of cars, or people's moods. The map isn't the city, it's just a model of it. Your brain does the same thing. It doesn't show you reality. It builds a convenient and simplified map for you. Our senses bombard the brain with approximately 11 million bits of information every second. But no more than 50 bits seep into conscious awareness. Everything else is filled in by the model. Your map represents 0.0005% of the real city. In science, there's a term for this: Umwelt, a world of perception. A bee sees the world in ultraviolet. For it, a flower is a landing strip. A snake sees heat signatures. A dog lives in a world of smells. They each have different Umwelts. You have your own unique one too, and it's based not on objective data, but on your expectations. This term was introduced in the early 20th century by biologist Jacob von Uexküll to show that there is no single world for everyone. There are only intersecting bubbles of perception, unique to each living creature. And this is the key idea. The brain doesn't react to the world. It constantly predicts what the next millisecond will be and only checks that prediction against reality. Most of the time, you live not in the present, but in a simulation generated by your brain based on past experience. Imagine the autocomplete function on your phone. You start typing "good morning," and it already suggests "arning." Your brain works exactly the same way, but for all of reality. It constantly tries to autocomplete the world one step ahead. The placebo worked precisely because the brain predicted relief. Recall a time you went to a job interview thinking, "I'm going to fail." Most likely you spoke hesitantly, stumbled over words, and avoided eye contact. Your body simply followed the brain's prediction. Now recall a time you were 100% confident of success. The difference is obvious. This is a classic example of a self-fulfilling prophecy, or the Pygmalion effect. Your prediction of failure made your body behave in a way that made that failure a reality. You didn't predict the future, you created it. So our brain is a predictor operating on old data. But what if we could feed it new data right now, force it to rewrite the prediction in our favor? For this, there is the first and most powerful hacking tool. This tool is called reframing, or changing the frame. Call a situation a problem, and your brain immediately activates the amygdala. It will start preparing for defense, seeking escape routes, producing cortisol. Call the exact same situation a task or a challenge, and the brain will switch to the prefrontal cortex. It will begin to look for a solution. The fact itself hasn't changed one bit. What changed was the frame you put it in. This is what reprogramming the prediction means. Imagine any fact as a painting, and your attitude towards it is the frame. Place a painting in a cheap, cracked frame, and even a masterpiece will look dismal. Now take the same painting and place it in a massive, gilded frame. Perception changes instantly. The painting is the same. The frame is different. A classic example is Colonel Sanders. At 65, he received his first pension check, $105. He was completely broke. For most, this would be a catastrophe frame, the end. But Sanders reframed it as an opportunity. He took his only real asset, a fried chicken recipe, and went around selling it to restaurants. The rest, well, you know how KFC started. Now let's look at the same fact from different angles. For the fired employee, it's a catastrophe. For their boss, it's cost optimization, a routine operation. For colleagues, it's an alarm bell and a reason to update their resumes. One fact, three entirely different realities. Which one is real? None, and all of them. In psychology, this is called the Rashomon effect, named after Kurosawa's film, where the same event is shown through the eyes of four participants. Each version contradicts the others, yet for its beholder, it is absolutely real. Reframing is something you do consciously with yourself. You choose the frame for the painting, but what if someone else chooses the frame for you, without your knowledge? This happens constantly, every second. Marketers, politicians, media, they are masters at swapping out frames. They don't change the facts, they change your attitude towards them. There are far more subtle methods by which the world changes your model of reality without your permission, and you don't even notice it. Until today. Repeat the word milk 10 times. Milk, milk, milk. Now quickly answer, what does a cow drink? Your brain with high probability shouted milk. Although the correct answer is water. I just primed your brain for the answer I wanted. This is the second tool, priming, presetting. In the 90s, psychologist John Bargh conducted a classic experiment. He gave a group of people words associated with old age, wrinkles, wise, forgetful, Florida, and asked them to form sentences. Afterward, the participants walked down the corridor to the elevator significantly slower than the control group. Their brains had been primed for old age. Their bodies obeyed. This happens to you constantly. News headlines that start with words like shock or threat prime you for an anxious perception of any fact, even a neutral one. Advertisements don't show you the product. They show successful, beautiful people using it. It primes you to associate that item with success. The same John Bargh at Yale University proved that if you're given a warm drink to hold before meeting someone, you'll rate them as more warm and friendly. A cold drink will have the opposite effect. The physical sensation of warmth was directly transferred to a social judgment without your knowledge. You are defenseless against this until you understand the mechanism itself. The best defense is awareness before making an important decision. Pause for a second. Ask yourself, what information entered my brain in the last hour? What did I read? What did I watch? Is my decision based on facts or on a mood that was just created for me? It's like washing your hands before eating. Simple informational hygiene. Before consuming a decision, clear your mind of external imprints. By the way, this very technique, telling you about invisible influence, that's also priming. I intentionally created a sense of mystery and external control in you beforehand, so you would perceive this information more acutely. This mechanism is working right now, on you. The world constantly programs us with these invisible threads. But what if the most dangerous and influential programmer is yourself? What if for years, every day, you've been running the same malicious program? A program that doesn't just affect your mood, but literally builds the walls of your personal prison from the inside. This program isn't a metaphor. It has a name, the nocebo effect. It's the dark twin of the placebo. If a patient believes a sugar pill has side effects, they will experience them. They'll feel nauseous. They'll get dizzy. Belief in a negative outcome creates that outcome. There are known cases where people were mistakenly informed of a fatal diagnosis. Their health began to deteriorate rapidly. Then it turned out the diagnosis was wrong, and their condition just as quickly returned to normal. The brain, believing the story of illness, triggered real self-destructive mechanisms. But nocebo doesn't only work with diagnoses, it works with your personality every day. I'm not a creative person. I never have luck with money. I always mess things up. These aren't just thoughts. They are commands for the brain. They make it filter reality, noticing only confirmations of these beliefs. In psychology, this is called confirmation bias. Your brain doesn't seek truth. It seeks evidence for what it already believes to be true. This is the most powerful drug for our ego. What one phrase about yourself do you repeat most often when something goes wrong? No need to answer aloud. Just catch that thought. Pinpoint it. This is the main virus in your operating system. It's your administrator password. It grants access to the root settings of your personality. By catching it, you gain root access to your own operating system. If you believe you can't socialize well, you'll avoid parties. In an interview, you'll act stiff, confirming your own prophecy. Your model of reality literally builds walls around you. It prevents you from gaining experiences that could disprove it. It works like an invisible fence for dogs. After a couple of shocks, the dog will never cross the boundary again, even if the system has long been turned off. Your beliefs are the same kind of invisible fence. You simply mistook it for a real wall a long time ago. But any prison can be broken out of if you have the right tools. We've already looked at reframing and priming. Now let's combine them into a single step-by-step protocol. A protocol you can apply as early as tonight. We'll call this protocol the architect. It's not magic. It's a systematic approach to your predictor brain. 3 steps, as simple as a special forces directive. First, deconstruction, dismantling the enemy fortress. Second, injection, introducing your agent. Third, integration, taking control. Step 1, deconstruction. Take that limiting belief you identified. I'm not good at socializing. Write it down on paper. Now treat it like a prosecutor in court. Ask, what irrefutable, 100% proof do I have that this is an absolute, unchanging truth? You'll discover that most of your proof isn't facts, but interpretations colored by emotions. That awkward conversation at the party is a fact. The conclusion, I'm not good at socializing, is your story about that fact. Cross-examine each such story. Apply the presumption of innocence to your belief. It's only guilty because you believed in it for too long. Step 2, data injection. Your task is to become a detective in your own life. Purposefully find and record at least 3 tiny examples that contradict the old belief. If you can't socialize well, recall one time you made a successful joke. One time a store clerk smiled at you. One short dialogue with a colleague that wasn't a failure. This is an injection of anomalies into the system. The predictor brain, accustomed to the old story, hates such glitches. For it, they are a bug in the code. It will be forced to pay attention to them and begin a slow recalculation of its world model. Step 3, integration through ritual. Formulate a new, effective belief. Not, I am a communication master. Your brain won't believe such a lie. But, I am learning to understand people better. Or, every day, it gets a little easier for me to socialize. And attach this to an existing daily action. Every time you drink your morning coffee, you mentally or verbally repeat this new command. This isn't an affirmation from popular psychology. This is neurobiology. You're using Hebb's rule. Neurons that fire together, wire together. By linking a new thought to an established ritual, you are physically paving a new, stronger neural pathway in your brain. You are literally building a new bridge. And this isn't a one-time action. It's training. You don't expect a six-pack after one gym workout. It's the same here. An old belief is like a dominant, overdeveloped muscle that takes all the load. A new one is like a weak and atrophied one. Each repetition of the protocol is one purposeful repetition in your mental gym. It weakens the old neural connection and strengthens the new one. Gradually, day by day, you show your predictor brain new data that is more beneficial for you, until it accepts them as its foundation and begins to build a new, more effective map of reality for you. And this is the main idea. The world doesn't just happen to you. You perceive it through a model your brain builds based on beliefs and expectations. Placebo, reframing, priming, all of this proves one thing. By changing the model, you change your reaction, your actions, and ultimately, your results. Ultimately, it all comes down to one choice. What primarily determines your life? Objective external circumstances or your internal model of reality? Write just one word in the comments that reflects your opinion. Circumstances or model. Let's see who is in the majority. In psychology, this is called locus of control. People with an external locus of control believe their lives are determined by circumstances. People with an internal locus believe everything depends on their own model of the world and their actions. Your answer is an instant test of your current locus of control.